We often think of our ancestors as simpler versions of us without the trappings of modern life like smartphones or the internet. But in reality, they were far more ingenious, creating wonders that have left today's experts baffled. From awe-inspiring constructions from past to present that seem beyond the mainstream theories, to a computing device predating the age of today, we're uncovering some of the most important archaeological discoveries you've never witnessed before. Get ready to explore these ancient enigmas that continue to perplex scientists. Ever wondered about the granddaddy of all computers? No, not those bulky ones with the clunky mice. We're going way back, hundreds of years back. Picture this, analog computers. These aren't your run-of-the-mill gadgets. They're complex, pre-digital masterpieces that would have shocked the whole world. You know slide rules, right? Those quick math helpers? Yep, those were computers too. But here's the kicker, the first ever was more than just a fancy calculator. Can you guess how old it is? Enter the Antikythera mechanism. This isn't just any old relic. It's an ancient Greek marvel, capable of predicting planetary movements and Olympic dates. Yeah, you heard that right. Discovered in a shipwreck, this bronze beauty dates back to the 2nd century BCE. That's ancient history, literally. But here's the burning question, how did it work? This ancient wonder is made up of 37 gears and 2 dials, intricately pieced together from over 80 fragments. Picture a record player, but for tracking the moon and the sun. And get this, it could predict eclipses decades in advance. Makes you think, doesn't it? How could they pull off something so complex without any digital help? That's the mystery that keeps scientists up at night. While we've got digital tech at our fingertips, there's something charming about not having to remember a password, right? Ever thought about the cool stuff the Romans came up with? We're not just talking roads and aqueducts. They were way ahead of their time, and today we're diving into one of their most mind-blowing creations, the Lycurgus Cup. So, the Romans, right? Great inventors. And they've left us something that's still got scientists scratching their heads. It's all about this fancy cup from the 4th century. But wait, it's not just any old cup. This piece of history is a real game changer. Picture this, a glass cup that flips colors depending on how you light it up. Backlit, boom, it's a deep red. Lit from the front, it magically turns green. How cool is that? But how did they pull off this magic trick? It's all thanks to some super tiny particles, way smaller than we can see. These little guys dance around when light hits the cup, changing its color. Now, here's where it gets wild. The Romans made this happen without any fancy tech. No microscopes, no nanotech labs, just some old school genius. But the big question is, how did they nail this technique? They were working with stuff 100,000 times thinner than a hair. Was it a lucky accident, or were they onto something big? So what do you think? Did the Romans stumble upon this tech, or were they secret geniuses? We're talking about one of the most important archaeological discoveries that's left us all guessing. It's a perfect example of those undiscovered technologies from way back. Imagine a city built for giants. You're wandering through streets where everything is massive, and you're just a speck. That's what it feels like at Ollantaytambo, an ancient Incan site in Peru. Built in the 15th century, this place is a head-scratcher for scientists and a gold mine of undiscovered technologies. Now, let's talk about the steps. Steps 13 feet high, 150 of them. How on earth did the Incans, without modern machines, build something so huge? Here's where it gets wild. They might have used ropes and pulleys to hoist these giant rocks. But can you believe there's still debate over what these steps were actually for? Some say they were part of a royal palace. Others think they were like old-school greenhouses. What's your take on these giant steps? But wait, there's more. One of these steps are just a tip of the iceberg in understanding Incan engineering. Could they reveal secrets from past to present? Ollantaytambo today is more than just an archaeological site. It's a tourist hotspot where ancient stone buildings loom over awestruck visitors. But the real mystery, the secrets of how and why these structures were built, are still hidden deep within those age-old stones. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Take a quick look at this. What do you see? Just some old pottery and bits of metal, right? But hold on, what if I told you this unassuming ceramic pot with a simple copper tube and iron rod is actually a game changer in energy? Yep, you heard that right. This isn't just any old jar, it's a piece of history that might just redefine what we know about undiscovered technologies. Discovered in Baghdad back in 1936, this artifact dates way back. We're talking between 200 and 600 AD, when the Roman Empire was all the rage. Now let's get a bit sciencey. Researchers found traces that this jar once held something like wine or vinegar. Why does that matter? Well, with an acidic liquid, electrons can travel between the copper and iron. And you know what that means? Electricity. That's right. Our ancestors might have been playing around with electric currents way before we thought possible. This opens up a whole world of possibilities from past to present. But how did they figure this out? And more importantly, what did they use it for? In the 70s, some skeptical scientists decided to put this ancient battery theory to the test. They built a replica, added some grape juice, and voila, electricity. We're talking about 1 to 2 volts here. Sure, it's not enough to charge your phone, but back then, this could have been huge. Imagine turning boring metals into shiny gold and silver treasures with a bit of electric touch. That's electroplating for you. But here's the real head scratcher. What was the true purpose of this ancient gadget? We're still debating that, and who knows if we'll ever crack the code. So what do you think? Could this be one of those most important archaeological discoveries that has shocked the whole world? You decide. Can you imagine a metal that just doesn't rust? Sounds like a dream. Well, it's not just a dream. In Delhi, India, back in the 5th century, something incredible was made. Picture this, a towering iron pillar, 23 feet high, honoring the Hindu god Vishnu. This giant has been standing tall for over 1,600 years. And guess what? Not a speck of rust. How's that even possible? Rust, or as the nerds call it, iron oxide, happens when iron and oxygen have a little too much fun together. But this pillar, it laughs in the face of rust. Despite being out in the open through scorching summers and humid days, it's as shiny as new. Scientists are scratching their heads over this. They think it's all about this special coating called misowite, a mix of iron, oxygen, and hydrogen. But here's the thing, we only figured out misowite was a thing in 1970. So how did ancient folks, with their basic tools and smarts, pull off one of the most important archaeological discoveries? Was it sheer luck or advanced knowledge that shocked the whole world? And hey, if they could do it, is it possible for us to crack their secret? Now companies are pouring cash to make their own misowite. Imagine a bike that never rusts, or a car, or, well, anything metal really. And to think, this was all done 1,600 years ago. Makes you wonder. Hauling massive boulders up a hill is exactly what the ancient Incans did at Sacsayhuaman, a mind-blowing citadel in Peru. This place isn't just big, it's colossal. The base sits at a dizzying 12,000 feet. That's way up there. And these walls, well, they stretch over 1,300 feet. But here's the kicker, the biggest stones weigh up to 220 tons. How on earth did they do that? You know, it makes you wonder, is it possible they knew some undiscovered technologies? We're talking about precision that would make modern engineers scratch their heads. They fit these giant rocks so snugly, not even a sliver of paper can slide through. And they did this all without any mortar, just pure ingenuity. But here's a brain teaser for you. If these smallest blocks weigh more than a blue whale, how did they stack them so perfectly? That's a mystery yet to be found out. As we continue unraveling these ancient mysteries, remember to hit that subscribe button to join our community of curious minds. Let's time travel over 1,000 years back to Damascus, Syria. Blacksmiths, not just any craftsmen, but legends in their own right. Why? Not because they were churning out giant weapons, but rather they mastered the art of the simple sword. Iron was the go-to for short blades back then. Tough, but prone to snapping. But why? These Damascus blacksmiths had a trick up their sleeves. They found the perfect iron ore mix called wood steel. It was the Goldilocks of metals, not too brittle, not too bendy. Perfect, right? But these blades weren't just strong. They were beautiful too, with unique patterns that made each one stand out. Ever seen a sword that's a work of art? Now get this. There were tall tales about these swords cutting through rifle barrels, tree trunks, even rocks. Sounds like a stretch, doesn't it? But in 2006, scientists made a jaw-dropping discovery in these ancient blades, carbon nanotubes. This stuff made the blades incredibly tough, yet flexible. But here's the heartbreaker. By the 1700s, the secret of making wood steel was lost. Poof, gone. Makes you wonder, how did they pull off this undiscovered technology in the first place? And while you can find similar-looking steel today, nothing quite matches the original. So what do you think? Were these blacksmiths way beyond the mainstream theories of their time? Think Damascus blades were the ultimate puzzle? Hold on to your hats, because China's got its own mind-bender, the Sword of Gojin. This isn't any old sword. Discovered in 1965 in an ancient tomb, this 22-inch blade, paired with a 3.3-inch hilt, looks like it could have been forged yesterday. But get this, it's over 2,400 years old. How's that for from past to present? Crafted from between 771 and 476 BCE, this bad boy hasn't even lost its shine. That's pretty unusual for something from that era. Most ancient artifacts show their age, but not this one. So why is this sword still so sharp after chilling in damp conditions for a couple thousand years? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Scientists think it's all about the mix of metals. The sword is mostly copper, but the edges, they're packed with tin, making them super hard and sharp. Despite being buried in a not-so-friendly environment, it's still in tip-top shape. Even a stack of paper doesn't stand a chance against it. Isn't that just beyond the mainstream theories? Why do you think this sword defied time like a boss? Now, the Sword of Gojin isn't just a random piece of metal. It's believed to have belonged to Gojin, one of the last kings of Yue. Imagine that, a royal sword that's lasted longer than its kingdom. One thing that could be a game changer for war is fire. That's exactly what the Byzantine Empire thought when they whipped up Greek fire, a weapon so fierce it could set ships on fire, even on water. Sounds like something straight out of a fantasy movie, right? But it was real, and it baffled everyone. So how did they manage to set water on fire? Well, that's where the mystery deepens. Greek fire, a weapon from around 670 CE, was a total showstopper. Imagine ships burning in the middle of the sea with no escape. Now, let's talk ingredients. Historians are scratching their heads because nobody knows the exact recipe. It's one of those undiscovered technologies that's lost to time. Could be as huge as a house or as tiny as your car. But the real deal was the fuel. This wasn't just any ordinary fire, but what was in it? Think about it. A combo of petrol or naphtha mixed with stuff like sulfur or pitch. Pitch, by the way, is super water repellent, so it floats on water, creating a fiery barrier that's just relentless. But here's a kicker. How did they even light this crazy mixture, or better yet, put it out once it got going? Scientists believe the Byzantines used pressurized nozzles for precision aim, but the big question remains. How did they ignite and extinguish this blazing inferno on water? Guess what? Once Greek fire was lit, stopping it was a whole other challenge. They probably needed sand or vinegar, but imagine trying to douse a sea fire. So what do you think? Was this ancient superweapon a stroke of genius or a dangerous gamble? The ancient Romans, without our modern tools, managed to create such incredible sculptures and buildings. A fascinating feat indeed. It turns out they might have been using some seriously undiscovered technologies. Take this one Roman column drum, for example. It's not just a piece of stone. It's got these deep, perfectly aligned cuts. How did they do that without modern saws? What do you think could have made these precise incisions? There's this old Roman sarcophagus with a carving that might just blow your mind. It shows a machine looking something out of a Rube Goldberg cartoon, but it's actually a stone-cutting saw powered by a water wheel. Can you picture that? A giant wheel spinning, turning cogs and driving saws back and forth. But is it possible that this was their secret tool? This ancient contraption is more than just gears and wheels. It's a testament to Roman ingenuity, stretching from past to present. They were way ahead of their time, using water to power a machine that could slice through stone. But why would they make 4 identical cuts on a single column drum? Was it a test run, or were they trying to create something new? What's your guess on this ancient mystery? While we may not know the exact reason, one thing is clear. The Romans weren't just building empires. They were making some of the most important archaeological discoveries that have shocked the whole world. A bunch of stones in a field may sound pretty basic, but wait, these aren't just any stones. They're the most iconic stones out there, second only to the Rolling Stones. I'm talking about Stonehenge. Nestled in a quiet field in Wiltshire, England, these towering rocks have been chilling at about 13 feet high since the Neolithic era. They didn't just pop up overnight though. It took hundreds of years, between 3000 and 1500 BCE, to get them all set up. But here's the kicker. These massive stones weren't just dug up and plopped down. Nope, they were hauled from miles away, some even as far as the Marlborough Downs and the Pressley Hills. Imagine dragging stones over 2 tons each without any modern machinery. How did our ancestors pull off this feat with just spears and wheels as their top tools? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? These stones weren't just dumped in a heap. They were meticulously placed in a specific formation. But how? The most advanced Neolithic tools were pretty basic, so how did they manage this massive game of rock Jenga? Experts think it involved hundreds, maybe thousands of people digging big holes to prop these stones up using an A-frame, and then using timber platforms to get the top stones in place. But the exact methods, still a mystery. It seems impossible, right? I mean, I struggle with assembling a simple IKEA shelf. So how did our ancestors, with their limited tools, create something as grand as Stonehenge? What do you think? Were there ancient techniques from past to present that we just don't know about? Could be. Ever tried sketching a perfect circle by hand? I can barely draw a straight line without help, but now, picture creating something massive. A giant circle almost as big as a football field. That's what we're looking at today, the Nazca Lines. These mind-blowing geoglyphs carved right into the Peruvian desert. We're talking about symbols so huge, their combined length stretches over 800 miles. Imagine that's like lining up 14,000 football pitches end to end. Scientists figured out that they were made by shallow cuts in the sand, revealing the earth underneath. But the real head-scratcher? How did the creators pull off this feat with such precision centuries ago? The Nazca people, between 500 BCE and 580, intricately carved out these designs on vast flat expanses. Now we can easily see all the different patterns from above with helicopters and drones. But back then, they couldn't fly. So how did they know what they were drawing? Experts think they might have relied on pure guesswork, a bit of hope, and maybe some celestial cues. But hey, these lines are way too precise for just guesswork, right? There's gotta be some kind of undiscovered technology or forgotten strategy at play here. And why did they make these lines? Were they trying to communicate with gods and goddesses? Or maybe using them as a giant astronomical calendar? The truth is, we're still guessing. But one thing is for sure, the Nazca people made these lines unforgettable, ensuring they'd never fade from memory or sight. And there you have it, a journey through the enigmatic technologies all throughout history, a testament to the ingenuity of our ancestors. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating exploration of ancient wonders. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.